Hey everyone, it is Sunday morning and I am on my morning walk. A lot has happened this past week. I haven't vlogged a lot, but I have a lot of updates for you. So this vlog is going to be a little bit of a show and tell type vlog where I talk about what I did in the past week or so and show you little clips that I did throughout the week. It's been a few hours since I filmed that clip during my Sunday walk. It is now Sunday evening and I am on my artist date. This week we have an extended artist date. I'm feeling very cozy and creative tonight. I'm really kind of just going with the flow with whatever I feel like doing. Of course, I have a rough list of the things that I want to do on my artist date tonight, but I'm really just seeing what feels good and tackling one thing at a time. I'm going to be doing some watercoloring now. I've got this picture I want to color in with my new watercolor markers. They're just regular water-soluble markers that I use as watercolors. I actually filmed a clip where I was coloring the leaves that I drew in my bullet journal. I chose palm leaves as the theme for this week, but only one type of palm leaf. I didn't really want to mix things up. That's a little bit too artistically advanced for me, but I can learn to draw one leaf and draw it over and over again. I really do enjoy that aspect of bullet journaling. I'm finding that after the first day or so of drawing something over and over again, I get the hang of it, and then I can be more creative about where I place it on the page, and I can draw it without thinking about it or looking at inspiration images and just getting all nervous about it. Once I draw something a few times, I'm much more comfortable with it. So I feel like I am learning in a sense when I'm bullet journaling, learning how to draw certain things. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I choose the themes for the rest of the 8 weeks, just thinking about what I want to learn how to draw, and that's going to propel me to choose certain things. Although I know I am going to do a planet theme at some point because that's still very much stuck in my head. Reading deprivation this week I thought would be easy for me because I haven't really felt like reading books or anything like that lately. I've been more in an output stage right now than an input stage, so I'm focusing more on writing and drawing and painting. But it's so funny because the minute you tell me I can't do something, I suddenly want to do it. So I think I'm like a classic case of someone that reverse psychology would work on. It doesn't work if I know that the intention is to use reverse psychology to get me to do something, but if it's like a pure thing where it's like, don't do this, I always want to do it. I've always been like that ever since I was a little kid. So surprise, surprise, on day 2 of week 4, day 2 of the reading deprivation week, I all of a sudden wanted to read a book. I wanted to read Into the Wild because I watched the film, and beyond just reading the book, I wanted to read more about the person depicted in that film, the real life person. And I extended the reading deprivation to like Googling stuff on the internet and reading articles and things like that. Felt that at multiple times throughout this week, just the feeling of wanting to read a book, wanting to read a magazine, wanting to read articles, and that took me by surprise. So anyway, I only have one more day to fill up my time with anything other than reading, and then starting tomorrow I can read again, and probably by that time I won't want to read anymore. Or maybe I'll want to read for a day or two and then I'll be off it again. I thought it was really interesting that Julia Cameron decided to coordinate the extended artist day with the reading deprivation. Of course she knew that we'd have to try to fill up our time with other things besides reading. I'm going to continue on with the artist date. Hubby is working today. He is going to be home. Oh my gosh, it's already 8:30. I didn't realize it was this late. But he is going to be home probably at 11:30ish or midnight. So I've got 3 more hours on my own. Taking Lulu to the vet. She had her annual vet visit this past week, and she was such a good girl. Similar to Truffle's vet, this is a locked door policy, so they come out and they take your pet from you. The vet calls you, and you basically are not in the room with your pet. So I was a little bit worried because sometimes Lulu can get snappish if you try to like poke in her mouth or look at her front paws. She gets kind of testy, but she was really good with the vet. I made sure I asked if she was snappish, and the vet said she was awesome. After we went to the vet, we popped by the writing studio. My first time there in 3 months. Lulu's vet is out in the East End, very close to where the studio is. So it was just like, I think 2 or 3 subway stops away. I brought Lulu to the studio for the first time and she really enjoyed it. She explored a little bit. I did some stuff around the studio. I got some supplies to bring home so I can do certain tasks at home, and it was just really nice to be back in that space. That space, I think I talked about in my previous videos, it's one of my happy places now. I just love being there, but I don't love taking the subway, which is why I haven't gone in 3 months. If it were closer, if it were, say, walking distance, I would probably still go every week or every 2 weeks. But because it's on the subway and I'd rather not be taking the subway so regularly, I haven't gone. And I really missed it. It was so nice being there. I stayed there only for maybe an hour or so because Lulu was there, and she likes to come home. Like, she enjoyed the studio, but she's always looking at me, waiting for me to give her the indication that we're going home. So just having her follow me around, it was really cute, but I could tell she was like, are we going home soon? Morning, everyone. It is Monday morning, and the first thing I thought about when I woke up was reading a book, specifically reading the chapter for this week for The Artist's Way. I'm excited to get home, do my morning pages, and then dig into this week's chapter. It is Canada Day today, July the 1st, so happy Canada Day to my fellow Canadians. I'm on my morning walk, of course, and I'm just taking a quick vlogging break. I am in a different outfit today. Now that June is done, I am done with my June capsule wardrobe. I didn't talk about this much, but in June I dressed with 12 pieces for the entire month. I used to do office capsule wardrobes where I would wear approximately 15 pieces on days that I went to the office, so there weren't that many office days in a month compared to doing the entire 30 days. I did find it quite challenging and restrictive to have 12 pieces for 30 days, but I persisted, and now I am done. I'm very happy I'm done, and I can start rotating my wardrobe again and wearing some different things. I'm wearing this dress today, which is super summery, light, and comfortable. This is one of the dresses that my friend gave me, actually, and it was a midi length, but I shortened it to mid-thigh, and it's just very breezy and super summery. I don't know if I'm gonna do a capsule wardrobe in July. If I do, it'll probably be a capsule wardrobe of dresses where I rotate 5 to 8 dresses for the entire month. That's actually sounding pretty appealing to me, so maybe I will go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get on with my walk. Hubby and I are going to have treats from a Chinese bakery for breakfast today, so I'm gonna pop by Chinatown on my way home. I'm sitting on my balcony right now enjoying some ice cream. This is mango sorbet, and I'm gonna also have some peach ice cream when I'm done with this. It is such a beautiful day today. It's really hot and humid. I think it's 34 degrees right now without the humidex. So it is so nice to be sitting on my balcony and just enjoying this warm weather. I'm not very good in the sun. I just get too hot and I get really exhausted, so I can't sit out in the sun for any extended period of time. So my balcony is perfect because it's usually shaded. I'm wearing this floral dress that I got in Japan. I thrifted this and it was either 200 or 300 yen, which is only $2 or $3. So such a good deal. I love it so much. It's very comfortable and it's perfect for this type of weather. I actually forgot about this dress last year, so I didn't wear it at all, which is a shame because it's one of my favorites. I decided for the month of July, I do want to do a capsule wardrobe. It's going to be patterned dresses. So mostly floral patterns, but I have the one that I wore yesterday as well with the black, white, and red. I've picked out 6 of these dresses and I might add 1 to 2 more long dresses, but I haven't decided yet. Right now I'm gonna start rotating through the 6 and then see if I want to add any more. Happy Friday, everyone, and happy 4th of July for those of you watching in the US. I hope you all have a very happy, healthy, and safe celebration. It's going to be a scorcher here in Toronto. I'm really looking forward to spending more time on the balcony today, but first I have to get some work done, so I've got my work laptop here. The documents that I work on, for whatever reason, don't work on my MacBook. My MacBook is very very, very old, but it still functions very well for video editing. It's basically my day-to-day laptop, but for my project work, I've got some like really text heavy and track change heavy Word documents, and those don't open on my MacBook, so I've got a PC that I use for project work. I recorded a really long clip on the balcony yesterday, and it turns out most of it is unusable. I still included a short clip, but it was just way too loud out there, so I apologize for the previous clip, which had a lot of background noise. It's lovely to sit out there because of that water noise. It drowns out a lot of the city noise, but it also drowns out a lot of what I'm trying to say when I'm vlogging. So I thought I would re-record some of the stuff that I told you guys out there. The main update I provided outside yesterday was on Truffle. He's doing much, much better. Of course, he's not reverse aging, so he's still losing his balance a lot, and he's still sneezing a little bit. The good news is that he is eating on his own again, which is so good. It makes things a lot easier. I still feed him critical care every night. I give him about a tablespoon of powder, so that works out to probably around 9 or 10 syringes full, depending on how much water I add. I measure it out, but sometimes I add a little bit more water if it's been sitting for a little while and it starts to get thicker. He has been running up to me and really wanting to eat the critical care. He's developed a taste for it again, which is so good. He has his appetite back. He'll eat pellets on his own. He'll eat his glucosamine tablets, which is his favorite thing right now. Even beyond his papaya treats, he loves his glucosamine tablets. I was looking at the ingredients and there's molasses in there, which is probably why he likes it. He also will eat a little bit of lettuce now. For a while, he was off greens completely. He grazes on his hay from time to time, and I just am so thankful that he is starting to chase me again for the critical care. He'll signal to me when he's hungry because he'll start following me around, and he usually doesn't really do that. He'll wait for me to come to him and just sit down beside him and pet him. So when he starts chasing me everywhere, it's a sign that he wants to eat. When I was editing the vlog, it's funny because I was looking at the footage of Truffle. I noticed there were a few truffle poops in the frame, and I was like, oh man, I should have picked those up before I started recording, but they're hard to see on our rug. They're kind of camouflaged because we have that like patterned rug. And then Lulu came into the frame, and then all of a sudden the poops were gone. So Lulu has this thing, I don't know if I've talked about this on camera before, but she loves to go wherever Truffle's been, because Truffle will often leave little poops everywhere, and she'll just go and she'll eat them. So we always try to get them before she gets to them. I don't think they'll harm her, but we don't want her eating too many of them. When I was recording the clip though, I was in the kitchen and chatting with hubby and refilling his syringe, and she took that opportunity to go and be a vacuum cleaner and take care of his little poops, which, I mean, at least they're not in the frame anymore, but I was like, oh, I caught you. There's never a dull moment with these two around. They're very, they've got their own little personalities. They're both very cheeky and sneaky. Both of them are like this, even Truffle. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. Truffle's beside me right now. I don't think he's feeling super well today. He's got his appetite, but he's probably in a little bit of pain being an old bunny. The other thing I wanted to mention before I sign off today, I really have very little to say now because I cover so much in those walkthroughs of the artist's way in my bullet journal. I don't have a lot of chit chat. A lot of the realizations and a lot of the things that I learned during the week, I'm covering off in those videos. And so I don't really want to repeat myself. For those of you who watch both the vlogs and those videos, thank you so much for that, by the way. These videos are still a real indulgence for me. I learn a lot about myself just talking to the camera and trying to verbalize the thoughts that are in my head. It's really almost a form of therapy for me, even though I'm not getting any feedback aside from a few of your comments, which I always appreciate. I will talk a little bit about this before I go. I had my artist date yesterday and I decided to do a deep dive into my finances, specifically into my investment strategy. I've always had a very haphazard investment strategy. I would invest money as I had it. I really wanted to look in particular at my passive income, which was a goal for last year, but I didn't really move a whole lot on it, just a little bit. And this year I really wanted to look at it because I realized during this week of the Artist's Way, when I was doing my reflections and the activities and the exercises, that my biggest block, or using the terminology in the Artist's Way, my favorite creative block, is doing paid work. And that was so interesting to me. I have to read you this excerpt of the Artist's Way, or the actual assignment itself. Okay, so this was task number 8 in chapter 5. It says, honestly, my favorite creative block is ... And then she gives a few examples: TV, overreading, friends, work, rescuing others, over exercise, you name it. Whether you can draw or not, please cartoon yourself indulging in it. My favorite creative block is definitely working. I use that as an excuse a lot because I feel it's my most productive use of time. And looking back, I essentially spent over 10 years doing active employment because I was afraid to do something else. I knew when I started my last job 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago now, but I was there for 10 years. I knew at that point, when I started in 2008, that my line of work was not what I wanted to do. At that time, I was experimenting with starting a photography business. I had an Etsy shop. Everything in my personal life was all about creativity. But I set that all aside thinking, this is really good money. I'm good at my job. I've got a mortgage. I've got a wedding to pay for. I've got all of these financial commitments. Maybe I'll work a little bit until all of that is done, and then I can think about setting that career aside and trying something else. So that was my mindset going into that job in 2008. And as you guys know, I stayed there for 10 years and I left in 2018. So that was definitely my favorite way of locking my creativity. I was always so busy and so wrapped up in making money. I've always been very financially focused. Even as a young kid, when I was 8 years old, I made a business case to my father to give me allowance. That is the first financial initiative that I ever took that I can remember. But my dad always gave me money to buy snacks and things like that. So I was very aware of the value of money because he would give me $5 before a movie to go buy a snack, and I would go ahead and exchange the money for a snack, count my change, and then bring it back to him. I've always thought that business school made me the way I am, but I think I was like this before business school, and maybe that's why business school became a draw to me. It was just very interesting to have these realizations and to see that I'm still doing paid work sort of as a creative block, especially this project work. I mean, I love the people that I work with for this project work, and that's essentially the only reason I'm doing it. I don't have a lot of interest in it. It's work that comes naturally to me. It's work that I feel is pretty easy for the amount that I get paid, but I'm not passionate about it. So I feel that I'm still using paid work as a creative block. It doesn't take that much time, of course. So far, this project, in the past couple of weeks, I've probably spent 4, 7, maybe 10 hours on it so far, but it's difficult for me to get started. So when that happens, when you feel that resistance towards getting started, you kind of know that it's not what you really want to be doing with your time. I will, of course, continue to do it for the next while because I've made that commitment, but I wanted to spend my artist date setting up passive income in order to be able to step away in maybe a few years' time. I am going to continue to look at my investment strategy periodically. I'm not really obsessive about investments. I don't check them every day, and it's probably good that I don't because the ups and downs can be challenging if you look at that stuff too often. Investing and time are really a perfect pairing, so the less frequently you check, the more the likelihood that you'll be pleasantly surprised when you do check that your investments have grown. So that's kind of my philosophy on investing. I've decided to actively pursue a passive income goal. I think I've already met it, so I might start to inch that up year over year. This will replace my annual savings goal that I always had before. Instead, I'm gonna have a passive income goal. I do have a goal in mind, and I feel like I've set things in motion to meet it, so we'll see how I do by the end of the year. The other active income, of course, is with the writing studio. That takes up about 20 hours a week because I work essentially part-time. I love my work at the studio. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. I definitely want to hang on to that role because it really does help me with all of the workshops and all of the writing that I do. I feel like it's a good complement to my creative projects, even though it can be tedious from time to time. Some things are a little bit more tedious. I do like the admin stuff, oddly enough, but there are other tasks that sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like doing that right now, but I have to because I don't want to leave it for too long. Whenever I'm making active income, that always becomes first and foremost in my mind. I feel like I prioritize those things over and above my own personal projects, and I'm trying to balance that out a little bit more. So for example, before I check work email now, I'll write my morning pages, I'll make sure I go for my morning walk, and I'll try to set myself up so that I'm not derailed, because as soon as I start working, I feel like I could continue working all day. That's just my personality. So I'm trying not to derail myself, and I'm trying to prioritize my personal projects even though they're not income generating. So that's kind of the update that I wanted to give. I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video and for watching any other video that you've watched recently of mine. I really do appreciate your comments, your questions, the time you take to watch any portion of the video. Thank you so much. I'll be back in about a week and a half, 2 weeks time with another vlog. I will see you all very soon. Bye.